past year or so, I've been watching YouTube, and I've noticed that they've been using more and more these robots to read the copy, the sales pitch, instead of a professional actor. And these are big companies that can afford proper advertising. In fact, some of the adverts are really well made and filmed and everything, but then you've got this robot reading the bloody script. The first one I noticed was actually an advert for trainers. You probably saw it as well, because I always remember it started with really odd words as well. Like, is it possible to have a pair of trainers for just £15? Do you remember that? Like yellow trainers or orange trainers or something. But then I noticed that like every company, even companies that can afford the best quality advertising, were having this. And I thought at first it was YouTube cutting corners and being cheapskates, because they've done that with the music for the past several years. Like, all the music is the same 4 chords and it's all the same, you know, sort of sawing violins, and then big drums bashing in, and then reverse, and then a dramatic pause, and then reverse cymbal, except it's not a dramatic pause because you've heard it so many times, it's boring pause. But anyway, they did the same music, so I just thought it was that. But now I'm thinking it's something different. I'm thinking that this is part of the softening you up for the metaverse idea. It's softening you up to want to see everything being CG. So they're doing it with the ears first, because the ears are more subtle. Sound is more subtle. I mean, funnily enough, I was just thinking about that yesterday, how sound is very difficult to legislate. Because I think one of the things that makes a pleasant society is peacefulness, tranquility. If you live in a tranquil area, all the wealthy areas you go to are peaceful and quiet. All of them. All the poor areas are full of people screaming and hollering and playing their music loud and revving their cars and making a load of frigging noise. And so that's part of the reason it's hard for poor people to get ahead, because they're surrounded by a load of noise. You can't sit down and write a song when you're surrounded by a load of people screaming and banging around and playing other music. You can't, run a business, or, make phone calls, or sit down or be a writer, or something, be an actor, learn your lines while you've got people screaming and stuff around you. I mean, it might help, I suppose, for some. But my point is that peacefulness and quiet and tranquility are precursors to success and happiness. If you're surrounded by quiet. And this country, England, is one of the noisiest fucking places I've ever been. Okay, it's not quite so bad as perhaps Brazil, or, places like that. The sort of maybe I don't know, maybe Rome or something like that, Madrid, But compared to France, where it's all lovely and quiet. Anyway, my point was, you can't legislate against sound. Sound is this very ephemeral thing. It's very difficult because it passes through time, and it's coming and it's gone. It's a bit like the moment itself. You can't hold it in your hand. You can't take a photograph of it. You can't take a snapshot of it. We can't go to court and show them the waveform for that night. It's very difficult to give it a reality legally. It's very difficult to give sound, to measure one sound against another, for example. You can look at a house, and you can look at another house, and you can say, well, that house is bigger than that one's more spacious, that one's got better sunlight, and whatever. It's very difficult to compare people's sound environments. So that means that sound is ripe for using to manipulate without anyone really even talking about how it manipulates. So, from using the exact same Despacito chords for every single advert, that manipulates you to get you into advert mode. Right? It's Pavlov's dogs. Every time you hear that music, you're in advert mode. You're not excited. the music's not exciting anymore. It might have been exciting the first time you ever heard it, but once you've heard it 500 times, it's not exciting anymore. That may well have been part of YouTube's strategy to get everyone to pay them to remove adverts. So by making the adverts more and more unbearable rather than interesting to watch or fun to watch or drawing you in, they've purposely made perhaps the adverts as unbearable as possible as part of this strategy of getting you to pay to not have to watch adverts. Because half the adverts are unbearable with the same music again and again and again and again, and half the adverts are adverts for YouTube's premium service where you pay not to have the adverts. So it's very much like a hostage situation. Half the time they're showing you the hostage with the gun to the head, and half the time they're asking you for the ransom money. And that's what advertising has become on YouTube. It has become a man with a gun to your head demanding ransom money. Sorry, gun to your head, but there's music coming out of it. The same fucking music. Again and again and again. And now robot voices again and again and again coming out of that gun straight into your ear. And then whenever they pull the trigger, you're hearing them demand the money. So, and people cave in. I know people have caved in because I've spoken to people that have caved in and they've paid YouTube for this service where they don't have to watch adverts anymore, but I refuse to pay not to watch adverts. I simply press the mute button. If the advert's too long, I don't even watch the video. If there's too many adverts, I don't even watch the video. Often I just come off YouTube altogether and go onto Pluto TV or something, or just play some music. Can't be arsed with it. It drives me away. Life's too short to listen to the same piece of music over and over and over again and listen to robots telling me what to buy and what not to buy. But this is softening us up for the Metaverse now, because now we have robots talking to us, selling us products. We have those Boston Dynamics things, those phony robots. I don't know. I think they're motion captured actors. I'm not convinced they're actually real, a lot of those. But anyway, that's another thing. That's just my perspective on it. It's just the way it looks to me. I don't know. I'm just the way it looks. That's all I wanted to say, really, is that that's all. That this whole idea is softening us up, and it just made me think of the voiceovers for the adverts, which for some strange reason for the past year have been robots. Why are we listening to robots telling us products? Why? I mean, even the ones that sound quite good, the ones that sound like my voiceover voice, so sort of what would we be selling? I don't know. Great electric car or something. Come and buy this amazing electric car, and you will find that you can get all the way from here to here with just one charge, and then you can charge it again anywhere in just half an hour. And it's like, well, why didn't you just get a man to say it? Wouldn't it have been just as easy? I mean, it's hardly going to take more time than typing it in and finding the right robot. And why just get a man to say it? Person to sell me the product. I just don't get it. The only possible reason I can think of that multi-million-pound companies would use such a shit voiceover is either because YouTube are such incredible cheapskates that they really, really do want to only spend $5 on the voiceover because they're too cheap to spend $50 on it, or $100 or whatever it costs to get a man to read a 30-second. Or both. Or it's softening us up for this Metaverse thing where we're all going to be interacting with machines from now on, and the machines will be avatars of real people, and real people will not be able to be seen because we wear special glasses, and the glasses will make everyone look like Pamela Anderson and Brad Pitt, and we will all be having sex with ugly people all the time, thinking that they're beautiful because of our glasses. And then the sound The voices are just there because I guess eventually people are going to metaverse their voices as well, so that I will sound like Richard Burton when I'm speaking to you from now on, when I switch on my metaverse voice. No one would have believed. I can't do Richard Burton. Okay, maybe I'll sound like... Who was that voice I discovered yesterday? I'll sound like Sean Bean. I'll sound like Sean Bean when I'm talking to you. Suddenly I'm going to sound like Sean Bean, but I'll just be talking with my normal voice, but I'll sound like Sean Bean, because I'll have selected Sean Bean on my bloody glasses. Or maybe I'll sound like, Al Pacino, you know? You know? Or maybe I will sound like, Margaret Thatcher. I will suddenly sound like Margaret Thatcher. Because I just select her voice. So it's a bit like, the animal note, these ridiculous animal noses and things that people put on their faces. Grown adults put on their faces when they're having conversations. But now we will have voices as well. It's very troubling, all of it.